I was a film makeup artist who discovered I had the same problems I did when I created my own indie feature film. I did not know how to market, I wasn't making any money, and I had no time left for my daughter. Until I actually studied marketing and found out that having an online course was the answer to all these problems. So I want to teach other makeup artists how they can do the same and spend time with their children too. I've teamed up with Dean Graziosi and Tony Robbins, who are going to show you that self-education is the new norm. This is Creative Entrepreneur Radio. I'm Miranda Wright. Let's bust through that glass ceiling. Hi, it's Miranda. Thank you for joining me. I'm going to share with you why I don't do freelance makeup anymore. I had a photographer that I only knew on Facebook message me and ask me if I wanted to do a job doing makeup on a client in Brisbane. Okay, I didn't have much details. I didn't really even know where it was. I drove my car into Brisbane. Well, it was the only cash paid job that I ever did. It was a paid job and they were few and far between. So I automatically said yes because I had been doing volunteer jobs because I thought that's what I needed to do. I'll get to that a bit later, but I'll just share this story. So I said yes. Without knowing much details, I drove into Brisbane. I just assumed it was on a model and it was at a location, a public location. I even took my daughter because there's no point getting a babysitter when the money I was getting paid wasn't going to cover that, and it barely covered the petrol going in. Regardless of whether or not that's professional, I didn't care because I had to. Okay. And I'm a mum first and foremost, and that's what I had to do. He gave me the address, so I put it in a GPS as I got into Brisbane and then arrived at a house. So it was a home job and I just didn't know that it was going to be that. So it was a bit weird, awkward. I would not say yes to going to someone's house normally. But I was there, so I had to go in and do the job. He was there. I didn't even know him. And there was a lady there. She was very odd, and she had an odd profession. She was some sort of sexual mentor. That's just weird to me. Whether people get offended listening to this, I don't care. It's just weird. She wanted photos for a book cover, so I had to do a makeup for that, and that's why she was getting photography done. It's just an odd person and not someone I would necessarily be friends with or want to be around. And I had to bring my daughter, so that's another story on its own. While I was doing makeup, Stella started taking steps upstairs, which sort of put me in an awkward position. I had to yell out and call for Stella to come back down the stairs because there's no way I would have her upstairs in a stranger's house. And she was saying, oh, it's okay. And then her husband was upstairs, so there's no way in hell I'm going to have her up there with some man that I don't know. So I called, Stella, come back downstairs, please, and come back down and be by my side and just stay there. She was bored, obviously. So that whole situation was awkward because I don't want her upstairs. I don't want her wandering around. She was little at that time. She was young, and I don't want her going upstairs in someone's house, nor did I even want to be there really, to be honest. I just did it for the cash. So that's one thing about doing makeup that is off-putting, is being put in situations like that where you are made to do a house call. So you should never go into a stranger's house, ever, okay? Nor should you be put in that position, okay? And if it was up to me, I would not be there. But that's the position I was put in as a makeup artist. I'm being somewhere that I really don't want to be and having my daughter be somewhere that I don't want to be. Okay? It's an unsafe position to be in. It's just awkward and weird, and being around strangers that you don't know, doing makeup in their house, and just uncomfortable. I would not do that again, and I shouldn't have done that in the first place. I didn't know. It was okay. We left okay, but I mean, I didn't want to do that. Life is short, and I'd rather be somewhere else, having fun, enjoying my life, being around people that I actually do want to be around. Okay? So if I am to be around people, so that's one reason. It's sometimes it can be uncomfortable, and being around people that you necessarily don't want to be around. So another situation like that where I'm around someone I don't want to be around was hairdressing. I started off as a hairdresser apprentice, and I was working in a salon, and I got to do makeup in the salon because my boss in there got herself involved in an MLM, and she recruited me when I first got the job as an apprentice there, and I wanted to get to know her and be liked by her and get in her world and get to know her and connect with her more. So, and plus I liked the products. We were selling what was called artistry products back then. I'm not into MLMs now, but back then I thought it was the go-to thing. And it normally is for a lot of makeup artists. That's their next go-to thing to make a side income. But I'll talk about that a bit later. There are other avenues to go down to make extra side income without joining an MLM. Okay, but I'll get into that later. I was working in a hairdressing salon. She recruited me into the MLM, and a way that I could sell products or get people to buy products was I was allowed to sell them in the salon when I did free facials and makeup sessions for clients that come into the salon to get their hair done. And this lady got some pre-wedding makeup done. She had a wedding trial in the salon. Like, I was trying to do her mascara on her eyelashes, and I wasn't irritating her eye. I know that because I was doing it properly, and I was holding her eye, and then got into the lashes. I wasn't touching anywhere near her eye. I can understand if people are a bit funny about going near the eyes and they just naturally pull away, but that wasn't it, because when I was doing the rest of her face, her blusher, her lipstick, everything else, she kept continually pulling her face away. I'm a pretty calm person, but at the same time, it's a little bit frustrating when I was just trying to do a job, and she wasn't allowing me to do that job because she kept pulling her face away, and there's no way I'm going to do a good job by her pulling her face away. How am I going to do her makeup? So that's one thing. Being around people you don't necessarily want to be around naturally. You are put in a position where you have to deal with them and just put on a smiley face. Not making any money and spending money on makeup products, my own makeup products. I had to do a couple of web series, and I volunteered myself to do those web series because I was put myself in a position where I thought I had to prove myself. I thought I had to do all these volunteer jobs. There's a lot of other makeup artists were doing the same thing. They're all fighting over these volunteer jobs that were posted on Facebook back when I was doing makeup. Fighting for these jobs in the Facebook group of what that people would post, and they're looking for volunteer makeup artists. And everyone puts their hand up to do these volunteer makeup jobs because they want to get known. They want to network as a good makeup artist so that they can eventually get paid work, which ended up being ridiculous because I knew I was a good makeup artist already. I didn't need to prove myself. I didn't need to be taking on volunteer jobs, really. If I knew how to market myself properly, set myself up properly, I would know that I didn't need to take on these free jobs. I was doing these web series and I was using my own product. So not only was I not making any money, I was spending money on my own makeup to do these jobs. One of the web series, there was an actress that had very pale skin. So I had to go out and buy makeup specifically for that actress so I could do her makeup. But because I already said yes to the job, and I had no makeup in her shade, I had to go out and buy very pale foundation and very pale powder so that it would suit her skin tone. And I bought a new brush as well because I wanted a new brush. So that cost me well over $100. That's $90 just for the brush because I wanted a decent powder brush, and I wanted an extra brush because I was doing numerous actors. Made my life more easier and time efficient to just buy an extra brush. Spending money without actually making money. And it shows me that I had no time for my daughter if I was to continue down that road. I'd have to keep bringing my daughter to jobs, sometimes, and because my mother works and she looked after my daughter sometimes, but she works, so I couldn't rely on her. A babysitter costs money, and so what else was I to do? I have to bring her with me. I did makeup for an actual feature film, and in this particular instance I had to drive to places around the Sunshine Coast and drop Starla off when she started school. In the beginning, like, I had to drop her off to a pre-school daycare sort of service that took her to school, and then she would be taken to the daycare thing after school, and then I would have to pick her up late in the evening. But sometimes working on a film set there's no set times. The times can be all over the place, and I understand that now, as I understood that working on the film set. I get it. And especially as a director myself, when I created my own feature film, people that will work on film sets would relate to this, that the director might change his mind on what scenes we're going to do and how long we're going to spend on each scene. It also depends on the actors and the takes that are taken for each scene. It might take a lot of takes in order to get the scene done properly, and then the director can call wrap. It's not something that can be relied on. You can't call it a specific time of when things are going to get done. So you have to be on call, stand by, and you might be there all day and all night until they've got the scenes that they want. You have to be there, and if they need you, even if you're not working, you still have to stand around and wait until you're called back on set to do something. When actors are on set, sometimes you have to stand around and wait till they call cut again, and they might be sweating, so they have to go powder them down. And I was also doing wardrobe sometimes. The actors were sitting down on the side of the road in a scene, and in between takes, when they call cut, I have to run up and make sure that there's no grass on their backside, so that when they stood up in the scene, you couldn't see grass on the backside. So I had to go and shake the grass off their butt in between scenes. That was my job. And make sure that their microphone didn't fall off and stuff like that. It's very unpredictable is the word I want to use. Knowing this, there was a tug of war between staying on set and knowing I had to leave and go pick up my daughter, and pissing off the people I'm working with, them thinking I'm unprofessional, when actually I have to go and pick up my daughter. So I was put in a position of not knowing what to do, and I was sort of frozen sometimes. So I had to just leave sometimes, or I'd have to be late, rock up late, because I had to drop my daughter off or pick her up. So those situations happened, and then I would have people on, like one of the assistant producers complain, and one of the other makeup artists complain about me and have talked to me about it, when I was doing the best I could. That's the sort of tug of war that you play when you're doing that sort of work as a freelance makeup artist, and you are a mother, and your children should come first and foremost. I mean, I had to bring my daughter on set when I was directing my own film, and I'm sure some of the actors didn't like that sometimes, but what could I do? And I did my best trying to juggle being a mum and being a film director, and trying to create what I wanted to create. That doesn't work for my daughter, and it doesn't make money, and it made me spend more money than I was actually making, and I did not know how to market myself, because when I first started, I was putting my name in the phone book, and I was buying business cards, and those things are totally pointless, that I know now, but back then I didn't have a clue what to do to market myself. How do I get traffic? How do I get clients? And they're the only things that could come to mind. I even bought a t-shirt, which is dumb, with my email or website or something on it, which is totally pointless. And then I bought a magnet for my car. I used Vistaprint to print out a magnet and get all these business cards and buy a t-shirt. So I'm spending money without actually making money, and that's just stupid. And putting an ad in the phone book. And where did that get me? I got one person ring up and ask for makeup, and then they didn't show. So I had no shows on top of it. And I'm sure a lot of makeup artists can relate with that. There's people that ring up and make an appointment and then just don't show up. And they don't even ring you to let you know. So they're wasting your time, and time is even more valuable than money. You should spend it wisely, because frankly, we're only on this earth for a little time. It's cliche, but it's true. We have a short life. Every day is closer to the end. It's the truth. So why would you be standing around waiting for the phone to call or a client to show up when you could be having fun, doing something with your kids, enjoying your life? And it was the same lady that I worked on the feature film with, or I was told I was going to be working on a fashion show. I actually applied to do it for free. I volunteered, and then found out that later on she volunteered to do the same fashion show. So I would be working side by side with this lady that whinged about me for the feature film. I would be working side by side with her, and she actually lied to me. That's what made me angry. She lied to me about, she said they weren't doing any more scenes in the movie or something. And then I found out that another makeup artist was working there. And then found out I was going to be working alongside her doing this fashion show. So I ended up pulling out of that because I really didn't want to be dealing with her. And then I found out again that when I was working for a web series, and it was just me as the core makeup artist, I was doing all the makeup for this web series. And whenever I couldn't do it, they would just get in a backup or something. But I was the head one. I was the main makeup artist, and I was doing a good job. And they all seemed to be happy with me. I had rapport with the producer and the director. They seemed to like me, and the actors. And then I wasn't doing anything wrong, and I was showing up on time, etc., and doing the job. And I later found out that this particular makeup artist had rung up the producer, told him not to work with me, and the producer told me about this, and he said, "What's this about?" I said, "I don't know. This is like," she was the person I worked with on Daddy's Little Girl, and then he said, like, "We're not going to listen to her. I wanted to speak to you about it first." And obviously they listened to her, because even though I was doing a good job, I later on found out I was no longer doing the makeup. And guess who was doing the makeup for that web series? That makeup artist that rung up the producer, told them not to work with me, and then slided in doing that job herself. Surprise, surprise. Oh my goodness. And this was a volunteer job. People are just ruthless, even like for volunteer work. That's ridiculous. Okay. So that's what you can sort of come up against when you are working as a makeup artist, a freelance makeup artist. These are the people that you may have to deal with. And I don't want to deal with these people, these shallow, backstabbing people. And the producer that I was working with on the web series, I got them to edit some scenes for my indie feature film, and it surprisingly went missing a couple of times in the mail when they were trying to get it back to me, the footage. And when I spoke to them in the car, going to sets, going to locations with that person, they would give me a lift in their car, and I was telling them some ideas I had for creating my own feature film. And then when they created their feature film, I created mine before them. And then when theirs come out, a lot of the scenes were similar to mine, like very similar, even down to the locations. And the scenes were everything about the scene, the location, how the actors were, like how they were positioned. Like it just looked very similar to what I had done in my movie, even down to a particular thing that I told him in a scene along a road. I won't go into detail, but there was a particular thing I wanted the actor to do, and I thought that would make a good scene. And then they put it in their movie. And that's just going by the trailer. Just the trailer had all the ideas I had put into my film, and a particular idea that I had told him about verbally, that I shared with him. So in good faith. I didn't expect someone to actually want to steal my ideas. But I mean, I know it happens creatively. You might be inspired by something. Nothing's purely original when you are creative. I know that. But come on, like, this is something I told him, like, and then they went and used it in their film. And then particular scenes that they had seen because they edited, their scenes were very similar. I mean, come on. You can be accidentally inspired by something and write, music or create a film based on another film. Okay, my film was even inspired by another film, but I didn't go ahead and use, the similar locations or whatever. I adapted it and made it my own, okay? I don't just copy things, okay? Getting on a train, having to get on a train to an indie feature film. I had to get a train to Brisbane because I lived at the Sunshine Coast, and I got lost on the train trying to find this place that I hadn't been to before. And by the time I got there, I had to get on several trains going from the Sunshine Coast to get to Brisbane. I had to go on several trains just to get there, and I got lost, and I had no idea where I was going, and I rang them up on the phone and still couldn't find the place and ended up late. So, and I hardly had to do anything. Like, you would not be in that position if you work for yourself. This is me doing a good job, or trying to, spending my own money on product and not getting paid. And these are the things that can happen. Eventually, I just come to the conclusion that, stuff it, I'm going to work online. So I started looking at ways I can work online. Because all these situations, like, it wasn't fun. I like the creative part, but I can be creative doing all sorts of things. I don't need to be a freelance makeup artist putting up with this sort of crap. Dealing with these types of people. Spending my own money on product, spending my own time, just being put in these frustrating situations. And being taken away from my daughter when I have a lot more fun with her, spending time with her, doing fun things. And that's how life should be. And I can have fun being creative in different ways. So I started moving towards, I thought creating my own feature film was the answer. But you know what? All that did was put me in the same situations. The same thing. I didn't know how to market. I went and did a business course to try and learn how to market. So I learned some things. I learned about sales funnels, and that started me on the road to learning about sales funnels. But back then I was using Infusionsoft, and that was a pain in the backside because it's super expensive and super confusing, and I couldn't use it myself. And I started going to masterminds and trying to network with people and meet with people. And I really just I was reading all these mentor books from like Richard Branson about Virgin Airlines, and all these how to make money books from mentor millionaires. None of them sort of said directly, this is exactly what you need to do to be able to make money online or with a business, and this is exactly what you need to do to make money and have the time to yourself to spend with my daughter, actually make money without spending too much money, actually make more than what I'm spending, and actually profit and have the time to myself and know how to market myself, how to get traffic. Okay, so that led me on that step. When I went to these masterminds and these networking events, I learnt so much stuff, but what I didn't learn was exactly what to do. And I wanted someone to lay it out for me, step by step, just tell me what to do and I'll do it so I can get the same success. That's what I wanted someone to do. There was just nothing out there. That led me down the train of wanting to go on this marketer's cruise. And there's a whole story in that, which I'll tell in another podcast. Okay, so thanks for listening to me vent. But I wanted to share with you why exactly I don't do freelance makeup anymore. Maybe you can relate to that. I'm sure there's a lot of makeup artists out there that do, and I'm not the only one, and it's you that this is for. I'm speaking to you, and I want to help you to get out of that rut so that you don't have to experience these things. Perhaps you've only experienced a little taste of these things, but you don't want to get into this situation any further because you're going to keep experiencing more experiences like that. Perhaps that's what you're thinking right now. But I want to help you just avoid that trail that I went on. I want to play mother to you and say, don't do what I did. There's a better way. Avoid all the mistakes I made. Just do this path because it's easier and it's going to get you the results that you want. Avoid all that. You can still be a makeup artist, but in a different way. Let's do things a different way. And you don't need to join an MLM. There's better ways than MLMs as well. But you can make MLMs work for you. But that's a whole story on its own. I might include that in another podcast. But if you want to know how I can help you to still be a makeup artist and not go through all that rubbish, then I do have a webinar coming up. It is very soon. So I suggest you comment, Miranda, let me into the webinar, and I will let you into a Facebook group where I will show you. It won't be a live webinar. I'll paste a video in there that will be the webinar that you can watch. You can get a sneak peek at the webinar before I release it to the public. So I'm only going to let a handful of people in there, and you will get first access to all the information and be able to make use of it before everyone else. And even when I release it to the public, I'm only going to let a certain amount of people actually view the webinar. So you're still here, so you're obviously interested, am I right? There's just something mentally blocking you from taking action and commenting, Miranda, let me into the webinar, am I right? You would do it right now if your fears were shaken, stepped on, am I right? A few hand-selected marketing rock stars around the world have been approved to team up with Tony Robbins, Dean Graziosi, and Russell Brunson to promote their biggest launch yet. They are about to revolutionize the online learning space forever with their upgrade online course training and platform. Okay, this is top secret. I can't reveal any information, but you are going to get information about what exactly this means, what it is, and how I can help you in the webinar. Okay, I'm not sharing this information with anyone but the people in the webinar. Perhaps you've seen the posts on Instagram or Facebook about the countdown. I can't share anything with you. It is top secret. I can't share with you what the product is, but I will be sharing it in the webinar when the countdown ticks down, and that we're on to day 18 right now. For online course creators and educators, I will say that want to level up and help more people with their online course, what they are creating can help you. That's all I will say. Okay, that will help you, specifically my audience who are online course creators, makeup artists that want to create their own course and get out of the rut that they are in, to teach other people how to do makeup, to be an actual teacher instead of a doer. You don't have to keep doing. You can step up and become a teacher and make a lot more money, have the time to yourself to spend with you and your daughter or your son, okay, your children. Keep the money to yourself instead of spending money on products and wasting it, and on petrol and on train fares. Keep that money to yourself. You don't need to go anywhere. You can have an online course and not even leave your house. Okay? You could be in the park. You can be at the beach and your course is still running. Your product's still selling to people. You're making money automatically without actually doing anything. And you're making regular income. Okay? And you can still be a makeup artist. You're just not running around doing makeup on people, on clients. You just do makeup on people and create some videos and create an online course with them. How easy is that? I'm sure you are capable of doing that. Do you believe that you are capable of doing that? They're the people I want to work with. The people that know they can do something like that. It's easy and they know they can do it. They know it's easy. They know what they're capable of. This is the new era of self-education. Perhaps you've noticed this. We're all experts in something, teaching, makeup or otherwise. And there are people that want to learn from you. That's the thing. But they can't find you. They don't know where you are. Are you sharing your superpowers with the world, or are you wasting them on clients that don't appreciate it? I know I am unleashing all of mine. I can't wait to share mine with all of you. So what I am offering to help you with complements what Dean Graziosi, Tony Robbins and Russell Brunson have and releasing soon, which of course will be better than any other online course, training and platform. If you are familiar with their work individually, you will be amazed by what they've collectively put together, but not surprised by this fact. If you know who these people are, you will not be surprised at how amazing what they're creating is and how it will help you. You won't be surprised because you know how amazing these people are. I want you to have the greatest of success, creating, marketing and selling and being rewarded from your online course, because frankly, if you're successful, then I'm successful. And you will get to spend your time having fun with your children more than working. Why would you want to work when you can go have fun spending time with your kids? Okay, so hop on this webinar with me. It will be held when the countdown ticks down. We're on day 18. So don't leave it any longer because you might not even get into the webinar. So I suggest you comment, Miranda, let me into the webinar. Comment wherever you see this video and I will see it and I will let you into the Facebook group or Instagram group and show you the webinar video. Okay? And it will show you exactly what I'm talking about. And you'll learn some stuff. Learn some stuff for free. Join my family. I want to treat my clients, treat my followers, treat my fans. I want to treat my tribe like my family. So join the fam and comment underneath, Miranda, let me into the webinar and I'll look after you. Okay, bye for now. Thank you for joining me. I'm Miranda Wright. See you on the webinar.